Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. And I just technically finished watching Halloween Town 3, Halloween Town High. And I grew up watching all 4 Halloween Towns, which I said this yesterday, but I mean, literally, I don't think there's any better Disney DCOM next to High School Musical or the Even Stevens movie or the Lizzie McGuire movie that are pretty good. Like, it was like, yes. Oh, also, there are some Disney Channel flops that didn't really go according to plan. But I mean, at least they gave it the old college try, right? The good old fashioned. We're gonna try this and see what happens, which is fine. But this is actually a pretty good movie if you think about it. Like, if you realize how all the Halloween towns flow, it's a pretty good sequel to, it's a pretty good follow-up to Halloween Town 1 and 2, which they do have a new threat, which is one of the Halloween Town councilmen, which the premise is pretty explanatory. I don't know if I pronounced that right or whatnot, but it's literally, hey, I think what the message is hey, how do we? I think this is what happened in the room. They were like, okay, everybody sat around and was like, okay, how do we follow up with how do we expand on Halloween Town? And one was like, well, how about we have Monty and the family request 10 Halloween Towners, or whatever people who live in Halloween Town are called, Halloween Townies or Halloween Towners. I kind of like that, Halloween Towners. But anyways, they were like, I think this is what happened. They were like, well, what if the threat was a knight from the old dark ages, just that, and we have a person be a legacy of these knights who is essentially made the Halloween people, the monsters and witches and ghouls and golems and whatever, be shoved into another dimension, and thus we have Halloween Town, a Halloween Town night legacy, because why not? And the person pulling the strings is a Halloween Town councilman who is pretty stuck in the old ways of thinking and is out to prove that humans have not changed one bit and that the portal to Halloween Town and the human world should not be opened and should stay opened once a day or every so often on Halloween. And honestly, it's a good message. It's a pretty good follow-up to Halloween Town 2, because Halloween Town 2 was a kind of tricky follow-up to the original. And I mean, not really a tricky follow-up. It flows. It goes. It pretty much it stays true to what was there. You know, you had in Halloween Town, you had the father trying to make humans afraid of Halloween Towners and turn Halloween Towners evil. You know, in Halloween Town 2, you had the son turn people into Halloween Towners and Halloween Towners into humans, you know, which is a nice balance, you know. And Halloween Town 3 is all about that next level. How do we step it up but keep it flowing with the story and the plots and everything that works? You know, if you watch every single Halloween Town movie, you can see that it flows into one cohesive character arc, and the character arc is a pretty good story. It flows nicely. Every single movie pretty much flows. And that's what I like. That's what I love about Halloween Town. Halloween Town is such a beautiful movie. If you look deep within the messages, deep within the message and the theme of it all, it's essentially two worlds trying to come out of the old way, but some are still stuck in the old way of thinking. Like, monsters are perceived as evil, things that go bump in the night, and it's an interesting movie, but they handle it in such an interesting way that we as like millennials or whatever we are, humans, we fail to see. And it's also it tackles racism. Like, if you look at the core theme of the whole Halloween Town, it pretty much tackles racism, but with monsters, which is pretty awesome. Like, okay, for example, you have a troll in Halloween Town 3. You have a fairy. You have a giant and a gnome hybrid, which that's pretty cool. You have a werewolf. You know, you have vampires who just go to the dentist. You have people who have pumpkins as heads for heads. You know, that's... You have all these, like, monsters just living in a dimension, in a town inside a dimension that we fail to realize they just probably live a normal life, you know. They probably work a 9-to-5 job. They probably do some kind of internet thingy, you know. There are probably some famous monsters, like maybe the Wolfman is a famous monster who lives in Halloween Town. We don't really know. Dracula might be living in Halloween Town. The Mummy probably has a podcast. I don't know. Zombies probably, I don't know, work in a morgue. Maybe zombies are doctors. Who really knows? It's an interesting premise that tackles interesting themes. Fear from 2 races and species. You have the monsters, which are mutants and meta and whatnot. You have monsters who are mutants / meta humans from long ago, and you have humans who probably forgot that monsters and witches exist because they probably... witches... probably the last time they heard of witches was from 1692, when the Salem witch trials were going on. Or maybe, just maybe, they just were like, okay, witches do exist, because clearly the Sanderson sisters came back from the dead, you know, years prior, so who knows what that entailed, you know? We don't really see the ripple effect of what the Sanderson sisters coming back from their grave or the dead truly meant for the mortals or the immortals, you know? The metas, the mystic users, the magic users, you know? The things that go bump in the night. The monsters, the ones we perceived as bad guys are now the good guys and just trying to live their best life, you know? Which is a good theme. It flows pretty nicely. And the the one of the councilmen in the Halloween Town one of the Halloween Town councilmen people, bless me, was like, I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling Comwells and your boyfriend. Like, he really did that whole, like, he did a little bit of that, like, Scooby-Doo thing, which, you know, you gotta love and appreciate, you know. And it's a lovely movie. I would love to see a 5th Halloween Town movie, a 6th Halloween Town movie, maybe a 7th. Can we just get 3 more Halloween Towns? Maybe 4. 8. Let's try for 8 Halloween Town movies, because there's so much you can do with Halloween Town, and so much you can explore with the continuation of Halloween Town. And, like, honestly, it would work if you do it right, you know. Just explain why they have 2 Monties, you know. And don't oversimplify it. Just make it quick and simple. Just be like, yeah, I went through a major change, you know, that in college, during college, or before, after high school. I went through, like, this whole, like, 2-week, 2-month, transformation. That's simple enough. That's super simple enough, you know. You don't have to explain so much, you know. You can just like say, this is what I would look like in college, and say, this is when I went through that whole 1 month transformation before I headed off to Halloween Town University or college, you know. That's simple. That's super simple. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Like, that's all you really need to say. And can we just have Monty have kids? Like, they should be about the same age now from when Halloween Town first started, which would be what, around 13, 12, 5, 6. Let's just have one big, happily Comwell family. Except for Debbie Ryan, because we sadly lost her a while back, you know, in the 2010s, and, you know, you can explain why she isn't there. Like, Aggie Comwell died, you know. That's a nice fitting, you know, plot to the original story. Like, keep it honest and true to the people, you know. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys so far. Please like, share, subscribe, and have a good day. Thanks. Bye.